everyone, welcome back to the Osteo and Physio YouTube channel. For today's video we are going to be looking at what exercises you should be doing post-pregnancy as part of our pelvis series. So typically postnatal, we want to start to introduce exercise around about 6 to 8 weeks. Things to consider before even looking at any exercises is that you've had this cleared by the GP. Any C-sections, any complications with birth, any scar tissue, any damage, severe back pain or severe pelvic pain, or incontinence on exercise are contraindications to moving on to exercise. So this is stuff to consider before you start. The elements I want to address with the video today are 3 elements that I think are absolutely key post-pregnancy. Number 1, we're going to be looking at changing, addressing and strengthening your posture to regain an optimal upright position. Number 2, I'm going through the top strengthening exercises for the core, pelvic floor, upper body to lift up through. And number 3, we're looking at stretching through key areas of tightness that typically manifest during pregnancy. So the first thing I would look at to introduce to improve your posture is spinal mobility and spinal mechanics. So typically during pregnancies, we go through each trimester, we find that the shoulders start to roll, everything compresses and obviously the tummy moves forward. What we want to start to do is almost like a bit of string, lifting up through the body and bringing the shoulders back. A great way to start the day, and you can look at our full body mobility routine for this, is to start to move the shoulders back. So starting the day where you're resetting the shoulders back before you start to do your daily tasks. The second thing you can start to look at is gently relaxing on a towel. What this does when we relax on the towel is we're stretching through the pectoral muscles, extending through the upper back and lifting up through the posture. The third thing I would look at to improve your posture is a full body stretching routine to release through the body and to lift up through. We also want to encourage that improvement of your posture through spinal mobility. So one of my favourite things to start off the routine would be on all fours, going through cat-cow position. This starts to lengthen through the back, you're taking the joints for its natural range of motion, naturally relaxing through the muscles. So up and down into cat-cow and then side to side to open up through the ribs, through the diaphragm and the postural muscles that get incredibly tight during pregnancy. Aim between 5 to 10 reps in each direction. Next, we want to start to look at how to strengthen around the area. So looking at breathing with TA activation. So as we breathe in, we push the tummy out, and as we breathe out, we pull the tummy in tight, holding for 5 seconds. We want to go through this cycle 3 to 5 times, so regaining control over your diaphragm, over your core, and over your breathing. Once you've held that for 5 seconds, the next exercise I want you to move on to is pulsating. So you're going to pinch the core in tight, lift up through the pelvic floor and release. So instead of holding it for 5 to 10 seconds now, you're going to lift up, hold for a second and release. So you think pinching the core tight, lifting up through the pelvic floor and release. That pulsation of release and contract helps you to start to regain control. So remember, you're lifting up through the pelvic floor, holding the core in tight and then relaxing. Next, we want to advance the core activation with the bird dog exercise. So this is where you're on all fours, making sure your core and pelvic floor are held really tight, and then you're going to gently alternate arm and leg, holding for a couple of seconds on end range and then bringing it back to the middle. Only move on to this exercise when you're comfortable with the other exercises that I showed you a minute ago, but you want to make sure you're doing about 5 to 10 reps on each side, regaining that control over your core progressively. We then want to look at stability work through the shoulders. So remember, bringing the shoulders back. So you're keeping the arms straight, holding the core tight. You're dropping the body down without bending the arms, holding for a second and bringing back up. This is regaining control of those shoulders. We next want to look at stretching. So a great way is child's pose. This is decompressing through the lower back, decompressing through the upper back. Move it down in stages where you feel comfortable, but we want to release the tension from the lower spine. Next, we want to start to again bring the shoulders back even more, clasping the hands behind the back, bringing the arms back and stretching through the chest. So we're opening up through the chest. So either doing the stretch on the towel like we spoke about before, or bringing the arms back. We then want to look at release through the psoas muscle, so through your hip flexor that gets incredibly tight during pregnancy. So we're going into a lunge position, bringing the body upright and then lunging and pushing the body weight into the front leg. We should feel the stretch down the front of the leg of the one that is back. Aiming to hold each stretch for 30 seconds, repeating on both sides. Next, we can continue to decompress and stretch through that lower back. First of all, going into a knee hug if this feels comfortable for you, bringing the knees up towards the chest, again holding, pulling them as far as you feel comfortable up to the chest, holding for 30 seconds, and then moving on to a piriformis and glute stretch as this gets incredibly tight. So either just having the leg across the other leg, that might be enough of a stretch. If you feel like you can stretch more, reaching hands through, clasping them together and pulling the leg towards you, again letting the head drop back. We want to aim to hold 30 seconds on each side, building up the stretches gradually, same as the strength-based exercises and same as the mobility exercises.